Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. In this video, we will be doing part 2 of our playthrough of the game Cassino from Cities of the Damned. This is Against the Odds, issue 60, and one of 2 games in that particular magazine, the other being Aachen. And we'll do that one at a later time once we finish up with this one. So in the first video, we got through most, 2 rounds, let's say, of the first turn of the game. So in this one, we will be continuing. Let me adjust that a little bit. So there's less shadow. This one will be continuing with round 3 until the end of this turn, and then hopefully get into turn 2. I'm not sure how much I'll actually get done. I don't want the video to run too long, but I just want to give you guys as much of a sense of the game's play as possible before we move on to Aachen. So, having said all that, let's get things going here. The first thing we need to do is determine our action points. So our weather here in turn 1 is clear, and that gives us a +4 to whatever we roll on our d6. I'll be using 2 d6 in this. The blue will be the Germans, and the red will be the British. That's just the colors I had at the moment. So we're going to roll our red, and we got a 2 + 4 would be 6. So we take our action point counter and we put it on 6 here. I'm using the track on the map, which is misprinted and has March 15th for all the dates. And I'll use the turn record track on the sidecar map, the rail area map, for turn tracks and victory point tracks. And we'll be using over here for round track, air and artillery support, which is all used up for this turn, and our action points. So we have 6 action points. And if we look at our map here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 units. So that means we can move approximately half of our units this turn. We're going to attempt to do something here, and I'm going to take our 3 units here, and I'm going to move them into this victory point hex to see if we can actually win a victory point hex. So we're going to move in here. 1, 2, 3. That will cost us 3 action points, leaving us with 3 action points. And we're in round 3. Okay, so when we move in here, we have some things we have to do. And the first thing that we would have to do is determine the level of German resistance in this particular area. The base is 1, so we will roll a die. Odd will give the Germans 1 unit, and even would give the Germans 2 units. And it's odd. We rolled a 5, so that means 1 unit. We pull it out of the cup here. We get an armored unit, 2 combat factor armor unit, which gives them a 3. Now we have the lead unit. In this case, we'll use Company A. So this is a New Zealand unit. You can see the 3 there. That is its combat factor. You see A/26th. It is Company A of the 26th Battalion, and that is our lead unit. And so you use its combat factor and then +1 for any additional units in there. So we have 2 other units. So we would have 3, 4, 5. So we have 5-3 right now. But because this is an armored unit, we have to determine the level, or determine what happens with that armored unit as it joins the fight. So we are using the variant rule for tank combat. So we're going to roll 1 die, and if it's even, then the armor unit just resolves its attack as it would normally. If it's odd, and it's over the number, so we would roll again, and if we rolled something higher than a 2 or less, then the armor unit would actually be removed from combat, because we would be quote-unquote firing first. So we got an even, which means that the Germans will resolve their attack as opposed to us being able to resolve ours. So what we do here, the player selects 1 allied unit. We'll use the other tank unit. We'll roll a die. If the DR is less than or equal to the armor unit CF, the allied unit's immediately reduced before combat is resolved. And I threw the die across the table and onto the floor, so we'll just use this. It is a 4, which is higher than the combat factor, so there's no effect. Now I have to go retrieve the other die. Okay, so I've retrieved the other die. Now we'll resolve our combat. So it's 5-3. We roll both dice, and we add the die roll to the combat factors, and we'll see who wins the combat. So the Germans rolled a 6, and the New Zealanders rolled a 1. So that would give the Germans 9, and New Zealand would get 6. So then you have your CCR, which is, I think, combat. It's combat resolution or something along those lines. I forget. I can look. Combat casualty result. Okay. So you can take step losses and stay in the hex, or you can retreat. So we'll retreat. We'll go 1, 2, 3 to put 1 here. Actually, if we do that, then I have to fight another battle, I think. So I think we just move it back here. Okay, so this guy goes back in the cup. The Germans maintain control of that, and they can move 3 times. So we're going to go back, and we're going to try again. When at first you don't succeed, try again. All right, so we're going to do this again. So again, we're going to roll 1 die. It is even. That means they get 2 units pulled out of the cup this time. Let's see what we get. We get a 1 infantry and a 1 machine gun. Okay, so we'll have to resolve the machine gun. And the way machine gun units is you roll 1 die for each machine gun unit. So we only have 1. We subtract the area's resistance level, which is 1. Then add 2 to the DR if a full-strength allied armor unit is in the attacking area, which they are. So that gives us a +1 DRM. We'll roll our die. If it is less than or equal to the machine gun unit's combat factor, 1 allied unit must... I don't think it's possible, actually, because you can't roll a 0. Well, we're going to roll anyway. And it's a 4, which would become a 5, which is obviously higher than a 1. So they stay, and we just resolve our combat with the same exact thing we had before. It is 5-3. This time, it looks like the British or the New Zealanders will win. That was a 5. I moved it to a 1 as I was moving it. 5-3. So that becomes 10-6. So that is a 4 differential. These guys... they always go back. This one, that's these 2 that are on the map and upside down are upside down because they're marking the fact that this is a contested area. So the New Zealanders actually take this area. We'll put a control marker on there, and that gives us 4 victory points. So I'm going to move our track here to 4. Now you can spend victory points to bring units back. We have a unit here in the reserve box already, but they have 1 more movement that they can do. I think what we will do is we'll send Company C here down to well, yeah, because we could get multiple counterattacks. We're going to get multiple counterattacks anyway, and I'd rather only have 2 than 3, because this is a German victory area. They would have a counterattack from here, here, and here, because they control those areas currently. But if I can grab control here in Area 61, that would reduce this to just being these 2. So on the other hand, if I leave this here, I have 5. It's a difference between 4 and 5 combat factor. But I'm going to go here because there's a die roll modifier on German counterattacks in this round anyway. So we're going to do that. So now we have to roll for odd or even, see if hopefully we get an odd, so the Germans only pull 1 unit. And we get an even, of course, which means they pull 2. So this is probably going to end up being a loss, would be my guess, but we'll see. So we get a 1 infantry and a 2 infantry. So we don't have any die rolls to do before combat resolution, and it's basically a 3-3. So it's even. We roll our dice. It's a dice off, and it's 1-1. 1-1, which means that this is now a contested area, so I'll just turn that guy upside down and throw this one back in the cup. Now, that would be the last movement for that one. I'm not going to move these guys out of this box because it's a victory point area and I want to hold it. So let's see, what else do we want to do? So on this side, we've got the 24th and the 25th. And there's a 25th unit over here as well. So stacking rules say you can have up to 3 in an area, but they have to be from the same battalion. So I can't like move this B25 up into area with C24 and D24. I'd have to move these guys in, which I'm going to most likely do anyway. First thing I want to do though is bring the company D onto the field of play here. So I'll spend 1 action point to activate them, and they'll go 1, 2, 3. I have 2 left. Let's move this unit in here, and we'll attack here again. So again, we're going to have a 5. This is a 2 area. We did not move uphill, so there is no modification for that. So we're going to roll our German. We got a 1, so they only draw 1 unit. And it is a 1 machine gun. So we'll put this in here. So they're going to have a combat factor of 3, but we have to determine what happens with our machine gun. Now, if you remember before, you subtract that number, which is a 2. We do not have armor this time. So if they roll a 3 or less, then 1 allied unit is going to have to be reduced. And they rolled a 2. So we have to reduce somebody, so we'll just pick D and we'll reduce D. So now that cost us 1 combat factor. So now we have a 3, 4, 5 to 3. So they still have a 2 advantage on the die roll, and they rolled a 6 and it's a 2, so they actually win. So this guy can go back in the cup. We get a control marker here to indicate we have now taken the nunnery. And so this guy moved 1, and these guys have not moved yet, but they're not activated technically, right? That would also have left me with 1 action point, I think. So let's move him here. So that's a 1. So let's roll and see what the Germans draw. They get 3, so that's odd. They only draw 1. Whoops. Let's see what we get. It is a 2, so that's not great. So it's 3-3, but at least it's not a machine gun or a tank, or a Stug rather. So it's 3-3, simple dice off, and it is a squeak by win for the New Zealanders. This guy goes back in the cup. We get another control marker out. Put that there. So that we have 1 left. So I think what I will do is we'll activate company B here, which will be our last one, and we'll go 1, 2, actually, hang on. This guy, I think, still had 1 move left. But you know what? We're just going to go 1, 2. Stop there. And that will be the end of that. So now we would have to do German counterattacks. So the rules for counterattacks are pretty straightforward. The way they work. So we would roll on the German counterattack table to determine if any counterattack is launched in a contested area, of which we have 1, or Allied controlled victory point area adjacent to a German controlled area. So we have a victory point area here. So we have a contest here, and then we have these 2 will also counterattack. Okay, so because this is round 3, the Germans actually take a -2 DRM here for the round, and any subsequent round would also be a -2 DRM. So we're going to roll here with our blue die. And we got a 1, which becomes a 0. So no counterattack and an immediate end of operations phase. Proceed to end phase of the turn. So we got 3 rounds in that time. And so we're going to reset this. We'll go back to round 1 when we move to turn 2. So now we have to do the end phase. Okay, so if it's not the last turn of the game, and it's not because it's the first turn of the game, we would deploy any allied reinforcement due to enter in this next turn, which we don't have any yet. The first reinforcements come in the 3rd turn, I believe. Yes, allied reinforcements right here on the record track. So that would be when they would enter. We do have a unit in the reserve box, however, that we could do as well. Or we could flip any reduced units to full strength by expending victory points to do so. And then we would adjust our victory points up or down. So we have 4 currently because we hold this. We've taken this area right here. Now, what we could do is we could spend 1 of them to bring this unit back onto the map. And then they can enter anywhere on the east or northern side. This is from the 26th, which means they would probably want to enter down here, so that they could join their compadres. So maybe we should do that. Oh, no, that stays because these remain contested, I believe. So they remain contested, but we are going to a new turn. So I will spend 1 victory point. Whoops. 1 victory point to return this unit, and we're going to put him in area 61 with his friend there. Okay, record the gain or loss. I did that. Starting with turn 2, place all of the blue division units in the opaque container. We're not in turn 2 yet, so this would be at the end of the next turn. Draw 1 and remove it permanently. No, replace any first FJ unit. So these are the Fallschirmjäger. That's why they're blue. It's also why I'm using a blue die for the Germans. So replace any first Fallschirmjäger units used as markers in all contested map areas after this step is performed. So I think that means they're not contested anymore. So I'm going to pull these off because that's what it says to do. Unless it says starting with, well, it does say starting with turn 2. So let's not do it because, what was the other one? Was this one? We're not in turn 2 yet. Now, the other thing that I did not mention in the, which was a little bit unclear, but I saw on BGG that Paul Rohrbaugh, the designer, actually answered this question, is when you draw a reinforcement on a counterattack, you put the 15th Panzer Grenadier units into the cup. That would be these guys, the gray background guys. And then after that counterattack, it applies to just that counterattack you're currently resolving. After that's done, you pull them out. So I've pulled all those out, and I did that before I even started this second video. But you need to remember to do that before. After they're added, they get pulled right out after that combat, basically. Okay, so we're going to now start our second turn. So we move our game turn marker to turn 2, and we roll for weather. And there is a weather, it's an odd even thing. So even die is clear weather, odd die is rain. And it is even, it is a 6, so that is even. So we have clear weather again, which means we get a +4 in our die roll for action points. Okay, so now we'll roll for air and artillery support. And so basically there are air and artillery support tables that we use here for this. So we'll roll our die. So we'll do air support first. Even will give us 4, odd will give us 3. We get an odd, we got a 1, so that gives us 3 air points. And now we'll roll for artillery. We got a 6, which is 8. Wow, 8 artillery support points. That's awesome. That is awesome. All right, great. Now we roll for action points. It is clear, so we roll 1d6 and we add 4, and that is our number of action points for round 1. We got a 1, which gives us a whole 5 action points. So this will be a relatively short one. All right, so let's start rocking and rolling. So I think what we'll do here is let's see if we can take this guy out. So we're going to activate these 2 guys and have them attack. We are in, that's the round marker. Action points go there, goes there. This would leave us with 3 action points. We will spend, well, it's 4-1. Well, no, it's 4-0, and we draw. We'd have to roll to see what we get. So I'm going to throw this back in the cup. And I'm going to throw this back in the cup, too, because it seems like this should go back in the cup as well. I'll just turn this guy like that to remind myself that I have a contested thing there. Or I could just use, I'll just use one of the reinforcement markers. So we'll use that guy. All right. So let's roll our die. It's tempting. Well, I've only got 5 action points. So let's use an air. We'll use an air support. You know what? No, we'll just use artillery support as a reduction in the number of units they draw. So in theory, this could make this a very easy one. And we rolled a 5, which is an odd number, which means they draw 1. But because I spent an artillery support, they actually draw none. Okay, so we're going to roll. They have a 0, so it is a 4-0. So it's still possible for them to win, of course, but let's see what happens. They rolled a 4. The New Zealanders rolled a 4. So because they have 4, that means they win. So we can take this and put it here. These 2 units are activated. So now you can attack in this direction and head to like the railroad station and the R15 hummocks. I think that's what that says. Or I think that's R15. Yeah, R15 is the the area name. Sorry, because all of these have R on them. So it's area R15 hummocks, which is, I guess, little hills. But that's also a victory area. I can't get to. Well, I could go 1, 2, 3. I could get there, but I'd have to attack here. And I'd have to attack here, and then I would eventually get to attack the railroad station. But we already used, I think we already used 1 here. So let's move in this direction because we want to get to the town hall. So what I will do here is we're going to go, let's move these guys in this direction. Let's go 1, 2. And 1, 2. And now we have a 5 situation in here. This is a contested area. I'm going to throw this back out. And let's see if we can take this one as well. I'm going to spend another artillery point to do the same thing and try and reduce the Germans by 1. So let's roll that. We got a 6, so that's an even number. They draw 2, which becomes 1. So we draw 1 out of here. And we get a machine gun 1. Okay, so they subtract 1, which becomes a 0. We don't have tanks here. So that leaves us with a -1 on the die roll. Die roll needs to be a 1 after the DRM. So a 2 or a 1, and we're going to take a loss. Oh, shoot. All right, well, let's give it to D. That sucks. All right, so it is now 4-2. 3, 4, 5. No, it's still 5 because they're still there. So it's 5-2. And we win that one, so they go away. And we take this area. And now we moved C and D in. So let's see if we can take the town hall. And C is our lead unit, of course, as you might expect. So let's roll our die here. You know what? I'm going to say that they can't do that. So we're just going to leave them there. And because I don't know if that's right or not, so I don't want to push in there and not be correct, basically. So Oh, we had this one for a counterattack area too, maybe? This is 6, right? Yes, so we did. So this one, I should have had an X, but we rolled we ended up with a 0, so that ended up not being an issue. We're a little thin on the ground here. That's the problem. We could go here, or I have 3 action points left. The problem is this area is going to get counterattacked, or is eligible to be counterattacked. So maybe we should move over onto this side for now. Move on to that side and we'll see what happens. So let's see. We want to get to the post office eventually. So that's here. And we want to send this. We want to send the 24th this way. That's the plan. The 24th going that way. The 25th is going this way. And then ultimately they'll hook and go that way. The 25th, maybe their goals are to take the post office and the town hall. And we're going to send the 26th into the rail area to see if we can get that. Because we've got this one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 possible victory areas left. Okay, so let's not overthink ourselves here. Let's send our, we're going to activate, let's see if we can clear this bottom area. So we're going to activate, we have 3. We're going to activate A and B, maybe even C. Although C is not really, so we'll just activate A and B. Because I was thinking I could activate C, but yeah. All right, we're just going to activate A and B. So we're going to send A and B here first. All right, so A and B there, we roll to see what kind of reinforcement. Oh, it's even. We're going to use one of our air support to add an extra point to the attack. And we're going to use add an artillery support to reduce their roll. So they're going to draw 1. I should have said that before I rolled, but I had almost forgotten I had the support. So this time they get artillery support. So this is the first time we've seen artillery support in this particular playthrough. So there is no actual impact for this unless you're using the Monte Cassino variant rule. And even if we were, that wouldn't impact us, I don't think, because we have not exited any units. Once you exit units, you could say that they were attacking Monte Cassino if you can exit them off. Exit hexes are 36, 43, and 51. So 36, well, here's 43, here's 36, and 51 is this one. So in this direction would be where Monte Cassino is. Obviously, we have not done that, so this is basically just a 1. So they have a 2, we have a 4. A is our lead unit. We rolled a 6, they rolled a 5. That means we win. That goes back. We put another control marker in here to indicate that. Now we can continue on. So we're going to go here. Obviously, we're going to use our support again. We're going to use 1 to reduce the number of units by 1, and we're going to use an air support to add an extra point, which would give us a 5. And now we're going to draw to see what they roll here. They got a 1, which is odd, which means they would draw 1, but because we played our artillery point, they don't get to draw 1. It's a 0, so we're just on a 5 against 2 here. We did not go up in elevation either. And it's 1-1, which gives us the advantage because we have a higher number. So that becomes Allied controlled as well. That is a victory point hex. That gives us 4 more, which lifts us up to 7. So that's good. And let's activate. We've got one action point left. We're going to have counterattacks coming in from various areas here. The question is, where do we want to move to help support it? So let's do this. We're going to activate Company C here of the 25th. We're going to move here. Okay, I'm going to use, I'll use my 1 air support, which is my last air support, to give them a bonus and make that a 4, and we'll use 1 artillery support to reduce the German reaction. It is an odd number, so this is going to be a 4 to 0 rather. So again, the Germans can still win. And it's 6-4, so they end up with a 6, and we end up with an 8. So that means that they have captured that area. So we can take that off there, or put that down there, I should say. And now we're going to push our luck one more. We're going to go here. We're going to spend one more. Well, actually, we can spend 2 artillery support, I think. And that will give us the 1 reduction and the extra point. We got a 5, so that's odd again. So again, they don't draw anybody. So it is again 4-0 to start. And 5-3 means that they win again. So we will put another in here. And we've actually done okay, I think. We will get we're going to get counterattacks from here, 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 and here, but not here. Plus, we'll get a counterattacks from here, here, and here. So it's going to be interesting. But that was our last action point, and I used all my artillery, and I did that on purpose. I wanted to get as much done here in round 1 as possible, and then basically we'll just retrench kind of and hope for the best for the balance here. You know, I'm going to end up pushing these guys up in this direction. I'll probably, looking ahead to next round, probably go these guys here and then up, and then these guys will come in here and go up. So they'll go here, here, and then you can't attack the castle hill from there. You have to go uphill here first, so they would go this way. I do have 1 artillery support left, so I would use that if I could get to that area there. So that's looking ahead at round 2. Right now, we have to figure out the counterattacks here. So again, we have the German counterattack table. There is no DRM in round 1. So we just roll here and see. So we'll start. I get to pick where we're going to start from. We'll start here and we'll work our way around in this direction. So they roll a 2, and a 2 is a small scale counterattack. Draw the number of German units equal to area's resistance factor plus 1. So that's 1, so we draw 2. So we get a 1 armor unit, which is a Stug 3, and a 2 machine gun unit. So we have some special stuff to resolve here. All right, so we'll do the armor unit first. We have armor on armor, so we do our special thing here where we roll. It is even, which means the Germans get to attack. So now, again, when the Germans are using armor, the player selects 1 allied unit and rolls a die. If the die roll is less than or equal to the armor unit's CF, so that would be 1. So they have to roll a 1, and we'll have it applied to our infantry. Oh my goodness, that was the worst of possible results there. So now we have to do the machine gun. Now the machine gun there is armor present here, and it is a 2 machine gun, which helps the Germans. So they get a +2 for this, but they get a -1 for the area, which I guess you use this one. So it's a +1. So we roll. They need a 2. They need a 3 or less. They rolled a 5, thank God. Okay, because then I would have to either reduce the tank or remove that infantry. So ultimately, we beat off the counterattack, the first one at least. Now we move on to our second counterattack, which we'll roll from here. That is a 2. So again, we're looking at, they draw 1, because that's a 0 area. And we get a 2 infantry. So they have 2, and we have 3. So pretty even. And we win. So that one goes away as well. Now we'll do this one. Same thing. We roll. Ooh. So that's odd. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not odd. That's a reinforcement result. So reinforcements. So we draw 2, and we have to throw our 15th Panzer Grenadier in the cup. So I'm doing that right now. Shake it up. And we draw 2 out. And they're both Fallschirmjägers, and it's a machine gun and an infantry. So that's actually not so bad. It's 3-2, but we have to resolve the machine gun. So again, they need to roll a 1. So they get a +1 and then, no, a -1 and then a +2 on their DRM. So I don't think they can actually do it. They can't, because it's only a 1. So that takes care of that. Now we roll for the 3 versus 2, and it looks like they win, or a tie rather. That's a tie because they have 4 and we have 4. So I think that means we just have a contested area now, and that was actually their last counterattack anyway. So I'm actually going to remove the 15th Panzer Grenadier out. What I'm going to really do is just put 1 here to resolve that. Now I will pull the 15th Panzer Grenadier units out of the cup. I'm half tempted to just leave them in, and if I draw 1 out, I'll just throw it to the side and then just draw another one. But there's not so many that this is an onerous task, which is why I'm just doing it, and I'm not even pausing, but I'm just continuing to blab on here. We are in round 1, so I need to put that there because I moved it off. So they held on, which is good because you lose four victory points if you lose that area. All right, so now we will move on to our next attempt, which would be in this area. So this is a no, but this is the next one to go. So we're going to roll, and it's a 4, and a 4 is a serious counterattack. Draw the number of units equal to the area's resistance +2. So they're going to draw 3, and we're going to get. I drew 4, so I threw 1 back. So we have an armored unit, we have an infantry, and we have another infantry, and that's a big number. So they're going to have a 1 + 2 is 3, 4, 5, but we have to resolve the armor. They don't have armor yet, so again, they need to roll a 1, and they don't. Okay, so now we roll. The New Zealanders have a 4, and the Germans have a 5, I guess. And the Germans win because it bounced. That was actually a bigger number, and the blue one hit it and bounced off and changed it to a 1. So the Germans win by 2. So we're going to retreat both units into this area. Whoops, did not mean to do that. This goes away. We lose 4 victory points. And that removes the remaining counterattacks because they've now retaken that. So that ends the German counterattack phase here. So that's the end of the operations phase. We move on to round 2. So again, we will start by rolling to see how many action points we get. A 1 again. So we get 5. Not real useful, but it's fine. All right. Well, you heard what I was planning on doing, so I'm going to do it. So we have 2 here, so we'll go down to 3. These guys are going to move up into this area. So A is the lead. They have 4 is their attack factor. We roll for the Germans to see what kind of reaction we get here. It is even, which means they get to draw 2. So we draw out 2 defenders. And we get armor and a sniper. Okay, so the armor, we know what happens. We roll here. They need a 1. And they get a 1. Fantastic. All right. That is not what I was hoping to have happen, of course. Now we have to do the sniper as well. So the way snipers work, we didn't cross a river or go uphill. Oh, we did go uphill. Shoot, I totally forgot about that. We are attacking uphill. So they're going to get a +1 on their die roll. If it's greater than the number of allied units in the area, then we lose a victory point. So we have 2. And they get a +1, so unless we roll a 1, which we did not, we lose a victory point. That leaves us with 2. And now we resolve our combat. Our strength is a 3. Theirs is a 2. But we also get a -1 on our die roll modifier. So we rolled a 3, which gets pushed down to a 2. They rolled a 5, so they win by 2. So that becomes a 7. We had 3. Plus 3 is 6. -1 is 5. So that's a -2. So we're just going to retreat back here. I was trying to make sure I didn't actually have to lose somebody there. But you can see that this game is challenging. This isn't a walk in the park. And the Allies did actually lose this particular battle. They did not take the city. But we soldier on. I can try again, and I guess I will. You know, you gotta give it a shot, man. Have to. So we will roll for the Germans. Of course, it is even, which means we draw 2. I was hoping for it to be a 1, or an odd number rather. So again, we get a sniper, and we get an artillery, which we know is just a combat factor of 1. The sniper is also 1. So we have to roll here and see if we lose another victory point, and we do. So our victory point's now down to 1. And now we'll roll for our combat. So they have a 2, we have a 3. And we tied, but we win by 1. Right, so since we only won by 1, that would eliminate 1 German unit, but leave 1 German unit. So this area is now contested. So I'm going to put a 15th Panzer Grenadier in there just to remember that that's a contested area now. Okay. So I'm going to spend, I have 3 points left. 3 points left. All right, I'm going to spend 1 point, and we're going to move this guy 1, 2, and stop there. And now we have 2 left. Let's see if we can take the town hall. We'll send B and C in here. And so that's only a 1, so we're going to roll, and we're going to use our last artillery support to reduce the number of Germans by 1. And it is odd. No, even. I thought that was a 5. So they would draw 2, but they only get to draw 1. And it is a 2. That one fell out. I had one in my hand, but we'll use that one because it's actually higher. The other one was a 1 artillery, the one I had in my hand that I was going to use, but that one flew out of the cup of its own volition as if volunteering to go into action. So they have a 3, we have a 4, and we roll for resolution. And we lose by 2. So we just retreat back. Tails between our legs, not repulsed again. And that is the end of our go at this. So now we have to roll for counterattacks. So at the end of each round, the player rolls on the German counterattack table to determine if any counterattack is launched in a contested area, right here, and right here, or Allied-controlled victory point area adjacent to a German-controlled area. So we currently do not control any, we don't control any victory point areas. So they get 2 attempts here and here. So we're going to roll on our German table here to see what we get. And they get a -1 here because we're now in round 2. So a 3 becomes a 2. So we draw number of German units equal to the area's resistance factor plus 1. So we'll draw 2. We'll take this guy away. And we'll draw 2. And we get a 1 infantry and a 2 infantry. So they have a 4. We have a 3. And let's see what happens. And they beat us again. They won by they had 4, we had 3, so that is a, and they won by 4, so that is a win by 5. So they would so if we retreated them, that would not satisfy this. We have to take 5 losses. So we only have 3 because they're already reduced and they have 2 steps. So these guys both get removed. This goes away. We're down to 0 victory points. And oh, we did. Oh no, that was contested. Right. All right. Well, we got one more up here to do now. So we'll roll for the Germans again. It's a 4. -1 is a 3. So again, we draw 1 because their resistance factor is a 0. So we draw 1. It is a 1 artillery. So this is a 3-to-1 attack here. And we get a 4 and they get a 6. So it's a tie. So we stay in contested mode. And was that actually... Oh, that was a... This was a gray. I'm going to use it anyway, but that should have been pulled out and I missed it. So that ends round 2. But I think I'm going to stop here. I think you've got the gist of the way the game works, hopefully. If you don't, ask questions. Feel free to ask questions, but I don't like to make super long videos, and the first video for this was already, I think, 50 minutes, and this one's going to be close to that. So we will we're just going to wrap it up here. So again, as always, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. As I said, if you have any questions or comments about this game, please feel free to post them, and I will do my best to answer them or point you in the right direction if I can't. Otherwise, like, share, subscribe. Always ask. Always hope you do. Appreciate it if you do. If you don't, at least I hope you come back and watch something else down the road. But that's going to do it for this one. Up next on our Solo Sunday series will be Aachen, the other game from this particular Cities of the Damned here. So that will be next week. But that's it for this one. So I do appreciate it. And until next time, I'm Joe. This is the Hexed Encounter channel. Happy gaming.